We've got 1 week left before the playoffs, and I'm already creatively burned out with these videos. Let's get started with week 13. The starting match we have is the 9-3 Kyle versus the 3-9 Uncle David. Now, Kyle is the favorite coming into this week, and surprise, surprise, Kyle's gonna end up beating Uncle David this week after a not so great performance from Uncle David's team. Kyle beats Uncle David 140 to 78, meaning now that Kyle will rise to 10-3 and Uncle David will fall to 3-10. Next up, it's an upset no one saw coming. It's Bob versus William. Now, William was easily favored going into this week as, again, the second strongest team in the league. But unfortunately, after Lamar Jackson goes down very early in the first quarter of his game, putting up 0 points for William, Bob is going to eke out a win this week over William. Bob beats William 138 to 127, meaning now that Bob will rise to 4-9 and William will fall to 8-5. Next up, it's a match that had serious playoff implications for these two teams. That's right, it's Justin versus Danielle. Now, Justin was the favorite coming into this match. However, Danielle has had some really good luck as of late and was really trying to make a final playoff push. However, for the first time this season, both teams are going to finish in a tie. That's right, Danielle and Justin both score 112 points, leading to the first tie of the season, meaning Justin's new record is now going to be 5-7-1, and Danielle's new record is going to be 4-8-1. Unfortunately for Danielle, she needed to beat Justin this week in order to still have a chance at the playoffs, and thanks to the tie, she's unfortunately going to be eliminated from playoff contention. Sorry, honey. Our next game is Alexa versus Chris. Now, Alexa's been looking pretty good this season, and Chris, still our champion. Not as good as Alexa, but is still, of course, doing very, very well for himself. And this week, it's going to keep going well for Chris as he's going to take down Alexa. Chris beats Alexa 162 to 143, meaning that Chris will now rise to 7-6, and Alexa will now fall to 8-5. Our final game of the week is the closest game of the week and the highest scoring affair of the week. That's right, it's David versus Kelly. Now, David has surprisingly had a good year. He hasn't found a way to shit the bed yet, although, let's face it, it's probably coming in the playoffs. And Kelly has done a great job of rebounding herself after a couple of rough losses very early on in the season. However, it looks like just by 1 point, David is going to eke out a win and continue his dominance over his division. David beats Kelly 168 to 167, meaning now that David will now rise to 9-4 and Kelly will now fall to 6-7. Funny enough, if Kelly had played anyone but David this week, she would have had the win, as both David and Kelly were the highest scoring players of the week. Now, before we go ahead and look at the last week of regular season, let's have a word from our sponsor. Do you have difficulty eating soup? Maybe your morning breakfast cereal? Well, then do I have the product for you. Spoons! Spoons are great for shoveling soup, cereal, or anything else that you want to shove into your mouth. Spoons are also great if you've hit creative bankruptcy and need a quick ad to make and have no idea what to make it for, so you just go into your kitchen and grab a spoon. And if you like spoons, you'll also love forks. Forks! They're for things that aren't liquid. Now let's take a look at the final week of regular season. Let's take a look at week 14. Starting match we have is the 3-10 Uncle David versus the 8-5 Alexa. At this point, there's nothing really Uncle David can do to get himself in the playoffs. He can just ruin Alexa's seed for the playoff position. Either way, good luck to both of you. Then we have the 7-6 Chris versus the 4-8-1 Danielle. Again, unfortunately, not much she can do to get into the playoffs. However, she can ruin Chris's positioning when it comes to playoff rankings. So, good luck to both of you. Then we have the 8-5 William versus the 5-7-1 Justin. Justin coming off of a tie and just barely squeaking into the 7th seed of the playoffs. And William, he's been dominant all year, so Justin, you got a hard one ahead of you, but I wish you both the best of luck. The next game we have is the 10-3 Kyle versus the 6-7 Kelly. Kelly, after a very, very unfair loss by 1 point to David this week. Kyle, just kind of limping along as the number 1 seed, given all the injuries that he has. So I wish you both the best of luck. And then finally, it's the 9-4 David versus the 4-9 Bob. David looking to get his rematch after his week 1 loss to Bob, and Bob looking to just ruin David's time. All right, so that's going to go ahead and do it for week 13. As always, please continue to check free agency, as I'm sure there's maybe something out there for somebody who needs to fill in a position, so please check free agency for anything that may be available to you. And importantly, this is the final week for bye weeks, and week 14, we have a big list of bye weeks. In week 14, we have the Falcons, the Bears, the Packers, the Colts, the Saints, and the Commanders, all on a bye week. That is the last bye week that we are going to have to deal with this season. Please make sure you have any positions filled that you may lose due to bye weeks, given that we have 6 this week. So until I see you again next week, everybody remember to have fun, please stay safe, live long and prosper, and remember, it's not cheating if it's in a threesome. See you next week. To be honest with you guys, I'm really looking forward to the season being over. I'm at a creatively bankrupt point with these videos. I don't really know how to make them entertaining anymore. I don't really have the same passion for making them, but I've committed to finishing the season. What happens after the season, I haven't decided yet. But yeah, I'm a little run down, so once the season's over, I'm gonna pack everything up and I'm not going to make videos for some time. What time? We'll figure out, but I'm not going to do any video production. What do you mean it's my job?